everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 bringing to you another edition of the Wrestling Discussion Series. And today I wanted to share my thoughts on what went down on the December 11th, 2023 edition of Raw involving CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Now, CM Punk had to make a decision on which show he was going to sign with, whether it was going to be with Raw or if it was going to be with SmackDown. And it was quite obvious that CM Punk was going to sign with Raw because, to me, Raw is where CM Punk made his name. It's where he's had all of his classic moments, and that's where he done some of his most legendary work on the Raw brand. So once CM Punk signed with Raw, Seth Rollins, who is the current WWE World Heavyweight Champion, he came out, and even though he was dressed in his usual outrageous attire, this wasn't silly Seth Rollins. This was serious Seth Rollins. And what we got was a promo for the ages from both Punk and Rollins. Now, anybody who watched the end of Survivor Series 2023, Seth Rollins had to be held back and he was flipping the finger at CM Punk. And we saw Seth Rollins' promo about CM Punk, about how he's a fake, and basically dissed him under the sun. So it was inevitable that Punk and Rollins were going to cross paths eventually. And these two didn't disappoint. Seth Rollins, you know, he never really gets enough credit. He is so good on the mic and he's so versatile. He can be serious, he could be sinister, he could be an absolute dick, and he could be funny. But what we got from Seth Rollins on this edition of Raw was, for me, one of his absolute best ever. And I got the sense with Rollins, he was kind of shooting a little bit. You know, he was really speaking from the heart, and it didn't come across as a wrestling character. This came across as a real life guy coming out and telling someone, look, I don't like you. You shouldn't have come back. You know, I'm not happy to see you. You know, when you left, we basically had to pick up where you left off and made things better. And the things he came out with, you know, there was certainly an element of truth in his words. He said, you left us all. Don't you dare come out here and say this is your home, because it's not. This is my home. Everybody in the back are my brothers and my sisters. You publicly tore this company down for 10 years, made comments about the company, and I worked really hard to carry this business on my back. And to me, it was absolutely electrifying just seeing Punk and Rollins nose to nose, face to face. Didn't say a word for about a minute and a half, and the crowd just ate it up. And these are the moments I like in wrestling. Two guys who don't like each other, and the tension, you could just cut it with a chainsaw. It was so thick, it was so strong, and that's what I like. You know, just two compelling personalities, and you're just waiting for that inevitable explosion. And Punk declared himself to be an entrance for the 30-man Royal Rumble, and he wants to main event WrestleMania. So it looks like that's what's going to happen. Now, I think CM Punk versus Seth Rollins will be a legendary feud for the ages, which is the main thing I kind of wanted to discuss here. The reason why I think it will be a legendary feud between CM Punk and Seth Rollins, because there is so much history. There is such a deep personal story to tell. And some of the best feuds always make for compelling storytelling is when you've got two guys who just absolutely hate each other, not just in storyline, but in real life as well. Look at Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. Those two absolutely hated each other. And that made for compelling TV because you knew that they hated each other on screen and you knew they hated each other off screen. And to me, that was some of the best television ever during the 1990s. Now, obviously, CM Punk and Seth Rollins, although both talented in their own right, I wouldn't say they're on the same level as Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels in terms of star power because those two are, two of the biggest legends in wrestling ever. But what you do have here with CM Punk and Seth Rollins, as I mentioned already, there's such a deep history because if you recall, back in 2012, Seth Rollins debuted as part of the Shield with Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, and they were kind of like hired guns for CM Punk. They were there to protect him, watch his back, and help him retain the WWE title, even though both sides both denied that we're not working with each other. It's just a coincidence that the Shield always comes out to interfere in my matches. But you can tell that story there where CM Punk could say, well, hang on a second, you know, when you guys were with me, you were nobody. I helped you get over when I was the WWE champion. And Seth Rollins can make an argument and say, well, we didn't really need you to get us over, or more specifically, get me over. I did that by myself. And, you know, you can also tell that story about, well, while you were out of the WWE bad mouthing this company, I was carrying this company on my back and putting out some of the best work of my career. No thanks to you. So while I'm working hard, you come back and you basically get given the keys to the kingdom. You get everything you wanted, while guys like me are working really hard to try and make a name for themselves. So there's a real personal story to tell. And if WWE are smart, creatively, if they take their time, this feud could be epic. And we've never really seen Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. I know they have faced each other a couple of times, but not like this. There's no Shield, there's no Paul Heyman. It's just Punk and Rollins. And I think, when you've got two talented guys like these two guys who can go, Punk will have to see really because he hasn't competed in the WWE for almost soon to be 10 years in January 2014. Rollins can go, as he mentioned in his promo, if you step in the ring with me, I will wrestle circles all around you. So could be a good match, could be great if it's done right, if they take their time with the story, the build up, providing that Punk wins the Royal Rumble, of course. It could be magic. And that one promo alone from Rollins and Punk was excellent. And I'm already waiting to see more from these two. Now, I did a previous video about why I think CM Punk's return will eventually lead him to becoming heel. Maybe this might be it. Maybe, CM Punk could turn heel in this feud. It would certainly be very good. Now, in terms of the crowd reaction, I felt the crowd was very, very split. Punk, obviously, he had the fans cheering him. Seth Rollins, he had the fans cheering him. Maybe I think Punk had the slight edge and advantage in the crowd reaction because they're still, caught up in the nostalgia and the excitement that Punk is back in WWE. That could change in the weeks to come. That could change. But right now, I would say in terms of crowd support and reactions and pops, Punk's definitely got the edge. Rollins, people do like him. He's got his fans, but I think Punk's still got the edge just a bit more in terms of fan support. But we'll just have to see, really. But we're off to a great start. You couldn't ask for anything but the absolute best from these two. Maybe Seth Rollins could turn heel. We've seen that before, and we've seen what he can do as a heel. He's absolutely amazing as a heel. Both of these guys are great heels, but we'll see, really. But I really enjoyed this promo, and I think with some time spent, slow building, this feud between CM Punk and Seth Rollins could be legendary. Maybe not as legendary as Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. Maybe not like that, because that's a little bit different. But I still think it could be really good if it's done right and it's handled correctly. But we'll see, really. But wow, really wanted to get my thoughts out there because I really enjoyed this promo a lot. And this was something that I was waiting to see since Punk came back. Rollins, Punk in the same ring. Who can outtalk the other? Who's telling the truth? Rollins did tell the truth. There's no denying what he said wasn't true because it was true. But I think that could make for some great storytelling if it's done right. But we'll have to see, really. But we're off to a good start. 2024 is going to be very interesting, especially with these two involved. What kind of shape will Punk be in? He is obviously going to wrestle at some point. So we'll have to see how this is all going to play out. But I'm really pumped to see what's going to happen next with Punk and Rollins. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What did you think of that promo between CM Punk and Seth Rollins? Did you enjoy it? Do you think their feuds could be legendary? Do you think it could be done right with good booking and a lot of time spent? Who do you see the heel in this situation, Punk or Rollins? Did you agree with Rollins' comments about Punk, about the way he left and the comments he made about the company? And do you think we could see CM Punk versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40? Could CM Punk win the Royal Rumble and choose Seth Rollins to face for the title? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Wrestling Discussion Series. So until then, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.